One question I wanted to ask you was that, and as Aggie fans, we know, man, like our offensive line has been horrible, right? And
Mhm.
our offense has been horrible. And so, and even one of the last callers was talking about Elko and different stats from years past with his defense. And the question that I have is, how much of this team was limited overall by the offense, and by and I've tried. I only played high school ball, so I don't know all the intricacies of everything. But you hear about the pro style offenses and how complicated they are and how hard they are to run. And when you look at modern football, I think it adds up, right? Like you got all these players that they're not staying 4 years. They're graduating, going to the NFL early if they're good. Right. And that happened to the Aggie offensive line numerous times.
Yeah.
Sternberger, the tight ends going early. And so when you don't have those guys that are veteran guys
Yep.
to make the right decisions, to run the right routes, to block the right guys, is it the coaches? Is it the players? Like, there's so much is just because Jimbo was so stubborn and changing, and I just
Yeah.
find it ironic that last game, when we beat, what was it,
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State, like they went back to like seemed like RPOs and just easy stuff from like just run, go do it,
Yeah.
and they've been doing good. Like, and I just
Right.
go, was that it the whole time?
Yeah. I think it's a major factor, if not the biggest factor. You look at 2020. That's the year the offense, Jimbo's offense, was its most successful. And I think Vudge made this point a couple shows ago. Vudge was the guy I just had on. That year, they had a senior offensive line. They had a really good, veteran, intelligent offensive line. And everything worked the way it was supposed to work that season. In Jimbo's offense, I'm not a great X's and O's guy either. I played high school. I played 1 year in college. I'm not like a pro. I'm not super sharp. From what I can tell, Jimbo's offense relies a lot on the quarterback making reads and a lot on the quarterback having several seconds to make those reads. That means that the offensive line has to hold their water for maybe a split second more than one of those quick firing modern day offenses. So yeah, I think having a subpar or even a young and inexperienced offensive line lends itself to a lot of deficiencies. I think that you feel the pain of a bad offensive line, or not even a bad offensive line, an average offensive line, much more in a system like Jimbo's, where it's run heavy, it's old school run heavy, not a lot of zone reads. They still did run zone read, but it's very old school run, a lot of just letting your blocks develop. And when your offensive line is not top of the line, I think the whole offense struggles. And I think we saw that time and time again. It felt like the offense was always on its heels under Jimbo. It felt like points were always at a premium. It felt like every drive was a desperate effort. And I think it usually stemmed from the offensive line or just bad quarterback play. We saw very inconsistent quarterback play from Calzada, from Haynes King in his short time here, from Max Johnson. The only one that we saw look actually very competent in this system was Connor Wegman, and he's a whiz. He's there's a reason he's a 5-star, and he was able to process everything because he just has a great mind for the game, great eyes for the game, and even with bad protection, he was able to see things develop and make lemonade. And I don't think it's any coincidence that it was offensive line and quarterback all kind of in relation with Jimbo's scheme. So you don't get to see your receivers show out when everything's falling apart at the line of scrimmage. Running backs don't have places to run when it's all falling apart at the line of scrimmage or on your pre-snap reads. There are a lot of pre-snap reads in football, but more so in Jimbo's old school pro-style offense. A lot more demand on your quarterback to make calls at the line of scrimmage. That's what I gather, and I think that's kind of the root of everything. And like I'll say it again, like Budge said, it was great in 2020 when you had an absolutely good, seasoned veteran offensive line. And unless you have that and a quarterback that's at least experienced, if not a wizard like Wigman is, things just don't look good. And I don't think Jimbo ever adjusted to his personnel very well. I think that was his big downfall. I think he came in with the mindset that he wants to do things the way that got him the championship in the first place. And with that team, what I said about that offensive line in 2020, apply that to Jimbo's entire 2013 team. That was a professional team. That was a veteran team.
Yeah.
That was a legendary quarterback. Everything fell into place there. They could run that offense. But you don't see it that often in college for a reason. So great question, man. Yeah, you got me to rant there. So I think it's all related. I think it's all part of it.